my best to make pictures to capture the predation.
When there's predation all around you, you should probably keep your eyes open, in case there's a predator watching you.
Once I put my camera up to my eye, my world shrinks to this. So I might be focusing on marlin and following it with the bait, and when I look up, there's a whale.
Not just any whale. It was a hungry Brutus whale, the size of a city bus. These whales are from the balloon family of whales. Brandon had to take evasive action.
I've had a lot of experience working around whales and marine life, and everything in the ocean is more maneuverable and graceful than I am. I didn't want to alarm him. Whales have very sensitive skin. So I did my best to tuck up into a ball and inch out of the way.
Essentially, Brandon became his own bait ball and barely missed a collision with the hungry whale.
The whale was on path for bait. I just happened to be, standing between it and its lunch.
If the whale didn't want to munch on Brandon, what danger was he ever in?
There is the potential for compression injury if we happen to get in between a large marine animal like a whale and its fluid source. It may be moving a little too quickly to maneuver around the diver, but just a simple nudge to the whale may mean abrasions, contusions, and broken bones for the diver.
After his brush with the whale, Brandon continued to film the swirling bait ball. But this time, he made sure to keep on the lookout for the predators, especially the really big ones. Orcas, also known as killer whales, are from the dolphin family.
They were originally known as whale killers. And when they put the first one in captivity back in the early 60s, they found that no one wanted to pay money to see a whale killer, but everybody would pay to see a killer whale.
These animals have very complex societies, and they have very rigid social structures.
Known as wolves of the sea, orcas travel in pods.
In the wild, killer whales will swim many miles, chasing food. More importantly, they are with other members of their group, so they are very socially complex animals. So when you take wild animals out of their environment and put them in captivity, is really robbing them of the natural behaviors that they have evolved with over millions of years.
In 1961, the first killer whale was captured and kept in captivity. Its ability to draw huge audiences led to the capture of more orcas, and finally to some being bred in captivity. Like dolphins, trainers found orcas could be taught to do tricks and put on a show.
They're now in an artificial situation where they are having to relearn and redevelop social interaction, not just with other animals, but more importantly with humans. And I think that really sort of tips the balance on how we expect an animal to act versus how that animal is trying to adapt and survive in captivity.
Whether in the wild or at an attraction, these massive mammals wield awesome power, and when they throw their weight around, it can make for a very dangerous situation. July 2004. One trainer at a marine amusement park found out just how dangerous an orca in captivity can be. It begins as a normal performance. The orca jumps. The trainer rides. They splash together. And the orca earns fish as a reward. Then, at one point, the orca stops performing. The trainer gives the signals, but the orca does nothing. The orca moves toward the trainer, who fends him off with an outstretched arm. Then suddenly, this 8,000-pound animal starts slamming the trainer.
Was this a playful behavior that went wrong? Playful behavior that might be harmless to it might potentially result in the injury or death to a human.
The slamming continues as the trainer is tossed and held underwater.
The animal's just saying, I'm not happy, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and I don't like doing this, and I don't want you in my pool. And once an animal knows that it's bigger and stronger and faster than you are, that animal's in charge from then on.
Once the other trainers realize that their colleague is under duress, they try and pluck him from the pool. But the animal drags him back out into the deep and repeatedly slams him underwater. The crowd doesn't know whether to applaud or scream.
You can see part of the audience is not sure if it's part of the show, and the other part of the audience doesn't know whether or not to be concerned.
It looked like play more than anything else. It was more playful for the whale, not so much for the trainer. But the trainer, he went about it right. He didn't panic.
The other trainers try to intervene, but the 4-ton animal continues to toss him around like a rag doll.
The whale, being a quote-unquote obstinate teenager, no, I'm still playing.
They didn't know what to do. You can see there was no planning for this.
Finally, the handler manages to calm the orca. And when he scrambles over the creature to safety, the orca is not happy. The trainer survived the attack without injury and performed with the orca in other shows.
Where's that whale, man? They canceled the rest of the show.
But it could have ended very differently.
Unnatural living conditions create an enormous amount of stress in any animal. And nothing could be more unnatural to me of living in a concrete box filled with water and chemicals. Orcas in the wild aren't aggressive toward humans. There's never been a documented attack of an orca attacking a human being in the wild, ever.
In the wild, fish and other sea creatures, like orcas, live in their own world, mostly having little to do with humans. But when they're poked or provoked, kissed or dissed, you can count on the fact that they can and will attack.
Hold on to your fishing pole. Coming up next on Quest, when fish attack.
A relaxing day on the water. But sometimes things go wrong.
The blood's just coming out. How much blood does a person have in their body?
True stories.
I could feel its teeth rake up the back of my head and go through my hair.
Up close and in your face.
I just saw this massive black whale coming up.
Caught on tape.
You could hear the enormous smack of the fish's bill stabbing into Pete.
When fish attack. 2. Tropical waters swirl around the archipelago known as the Florida Keys, renowned for its beauty, tranquility, and solitude. But dangers lurk beneath these peaceful waters, and if the fates turn against you, life can hang in the balance. Just ask Michael Hinojosa. For him and his girlfriend Carrie Larson, the Keys used to be a place to kayak peacefully and relax.
Kayaking is definitely my favorite activity. I love the serenity of it. We could kayak all day long. We'd bring food, drinks. We were totally prepared.
They stayed mostly in very shallow areas, sometimes in water just a foot deep. But on October 16, 2010, they saw something new on the water. A jumping fish.
Because of how shiny silver it was, it reminded me of a barracuda. It was really moving in one general direction, basically towards us as it jumped out of the water. After it jumped the third time that I saw it, it sort of disappeared. We were both scanning the horizon for it, hoping to get another glimpse of it jumping again. And the next thing I know, there was a huge explosion on my left. That fish must have hit her so hard. The only thing I could compare it to is like a car wreck if someone were walking across a highway and suddenly were hit by the car. As soon as she popped up, I saw the hole in her rib cage. I could see rib bone popping out on both sides. I could see that there was chunks of rib missing. I could see the lung popping out of her chest. I don't know anything about CPR, but I know when you have severe bleeding, you apply direct pressure.
Jumping out of the water, the fish's snout had actually punched a hole in Carrie's back, breaking 2 ribs and puncturing her lung. As she gasped for air, her left lung would push out of this gaping hole. With Carrie in mortal danger, Mike knew he needed to get help immediately.
We're in water too shallow for boats. There were no homes around. No one could see us. We could see no one.
Mike dialed 911. What follows is the actual call.
Yes, 9. On this location.
Yes, I've got an emergency. I'm in a kayak. Barracuda fish just jumped into the boat and hit my girlfriend is bleeding. We are in Coast Guard. I am north of Big Pine Key.
Okay, so I need to know where you're going to come into.
I need you to come to me. I'm in a kayak.
With my left hand holding her side, keeping her lung from popping out, keeping her from bleeding to death, there was no way I was going to be able to paddle with one hand.
Okay, stay on the line. I'm going to transfer you to Coast Guard, okay? I'm going to remain on the line.
Yes, I've got an emergency. Pine Channel, just north of Big Pine. North of Big Pine? In Pine Channel between Cutco and Big Pine. Cutco? Cutco, just north of Big Pine.
It was obvious the person I was talking to didn't know the waters well enough to find me. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of islands that surround the Florida Keys.
The Coast Guard was searching near Cudjoe Key, but Carrie and Michael were near Cutco Key, north of Big Pine Key. The Coast Guard assured Mike that help would arrive in 20 minutes.
20 minutes felt like 2 hours. I called back. I started getting more and more angry with the people on 911 as to why they weren't here yet.
I'm holding the life in my hands. I'm keeping the blood and everything inside her right now.
Tell me what's geographically around.
We're not Cutco.
The wound was so bad that I was positive she was going to die before anybody could get to us. You know, I was damn near sure that you just don't bleed like that. You don't have a hole in your chest like that and live. The blood's just coming out. How much blood does a person have in their